Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about measures of center, and we're going to do that using precipitation data for Portland. So here I've split it out by year from 2007 to 2019 because I moved here in 2007, and then the months will be along the rows here. So every value in this cell is just the total of how much rain we got in a month in inches. And it goes from 0, there are a few months with 0, all the way up to December of 2015 with 15 inches of rain. So if you're trying to answer a question like how much does it rain in Portland on average, the first thing to do might just be to look at how much total rain we get for a year. So to do that, let's add a total row. And the command to add everything up again, press the equal sign and start typing the word sum. And then just select all the months in 2007, press enter. You get 32.06. It's giving us an error. It wants us to update the formula to include cells. But if we do that, it's going to include the 2007, which we don't actually want. That's not a number we want to add up. So Control-Z is the shortcut to undo that if you did it. So then what we can do, instead of typing the same thing for every year, is we'll just use copy-paste. And so you copy that once, you go over here, and you can paste it in where you want it to go, just like that. The other way to do that would be if you haven't copied it. You notice there's this little square in the bottom right corner, and if you click that just right, you can drag it. That will also do a copy-paste operation. And they all give you errors or warnings. Just ignore that for now. So let's look at what happened when we copy-paste. This cell was B4 through B15. When we copied and paste that over, the next one is C4 through C15. So it's not just copying the command sum, it's actually moving the reference as well. So C, D, E, F, G, etc. Usually that's a good thing, but it can get you in trouble if you have one thing that you want to use in every formula. We'll talk about that later, but it's just important to be aware of whenever you copy paste in Excel, look and make sure that it is using the references that you want to use. Okay, so now we've got this on an annual basis. Our lowest looks like 2013 with 26.72 inches. The highest was the year before with 50.44 inches. So let's split out this data so we're just looking at the years and the totals. So to do that, let's grab this and let's copy these. And let's click down here on this plus sign. That will create a new tab so we can go back and forth between these tabs. And if we paste this, it's going to put it along horizontally, but let's actually paste it along vertically. So if you go to paste here, you notice there's this option that has arrows for down and over. That's transpose. So instead of going vertically or horizontally, it'll do the opposite. So we do that. It looks great, except these aren't months. These are years. So let's change that. Now go back over here and do the same thing with these totals. We'll grab these and we'll copy them. And if we go over here, and if we go to transpose, before I click it, you notice there are these errors here, this hashtag ref exclamation point, because it would be trying to post formulas, but the formulas refer to cells that don't work on this sheet. So instead, just go here to paste special, and then click on transpose in the bottom right, and then click on values. So you're not pasting the formulas, just the results of those formulas. And that'll get it to look like this. And then let's just change the formatting. We don't want this bold, only want the headers bold. We want everything to be center aligned, or maybe you don't, that's fine as well. So then what are we gonna do with this? Well, just remember our goal was how much rain does Portland get each year on average? And that's something we do a measure of center. Like, you know, there are highs, there are lows, but like, what is it like typically? And there are two major ways to do that. Measures of center, there's the mean and the median. And so let's make spots for both of those, the mean and the median. And let's bold those for no good reason. So the mean, we're going to calculate in this cell. Over here, I'll just say this is the usual average. The same average you've calculated your whole life, add up all the numbers, divide by how many there are. But in statistics, to avoid ambiguity between, if you say average, a statistician will say, well, what do you mean by that? And then you say mean or median. But we calculate the same way we did in the previous video. Equal sign, start typing the word average, and then select all these right here. And it looks good. But there's one problem is we're including 2019, but 2019 is still underway. It's still very wet here. It's raining a lot. So let's go ahead and if we right click on that row, we can select delete and get rid of it. And this will automatically update. We check and make sure, yep, it's only including the ones we want. So the median is a little different. The mean takes into account all the values, but some of these values are really high, some of them are much lower. So what we can do is we can sort these not by year, but by the amount of rainfall that year got. So click on one of the cells in the total column, and then go up here to the data tab up top. And then there's this whole thing here for sort. And the quick key is just A to Z. We've clicked on the total row, so it'll sort this by the totals from smallest to largest. And you can see it keeps them in order. It still shows 2012 was the wettest, 2013 was the driest. And you notice I had to leave some white space here so it would figure out only to sort this part and not like mess up the stuff over here. But the median, the way that works, not only looks at the center value. So we have 12 years of data here. You can see there's 12 total. So the median would be right between 6 and 7. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the median is going to be right between these two values, right between 37.1 and 40.11. To calculate that, you just type equals median and select these values again, and it just does right in between these two. So it's between the middle values, or it is the middle value if n is odd. N is just, you know, the sample size, how many data points you have. That's pretty consistent for the entire term. And these give you slightly different values. We could select those, go back to the Home tab on the ribbon, fewer decimal points. You see the mean is a little bit lower than the median, 37.3 instead of 38.6. So the median only looks at the center values. The mean looks at all of them. So the mean is going to be dragged up by the higher values and dragged down by the lower values. And so in this case, since it's a little lower, we know that the lower values are dragging it down a little more than the higher values are pulling it up. Now, there is another measure of center called the mode. That is the most frequently appearing value, but it doesn't make a lot of sense with this data. You might see it on some of the homework questions, but all of these values only occur once each. There are no duplicate values, so it doesn't make a lot of sense to calculate the mode. Those are your two major measures of center, mean, and median. You're going to use those a lot in this class, so I hope you've enjoyed learning about them.